What's good, everyone? Welcome back to the Prime Lacrosse YouTube page. Today, we're gonna be talking about options from X or behind the cage. I'm gonna show you a couple of different ways that you can finish if you play from behind goal line extended. Let's go. Alrighty guys, now I'm behind the cage, or what we call at X. And so in a second, I'm gonna give you a couple of different options on how to finish from this position. But really quick, I wanna harp on the advantageous nature of playing at X. And one of the biggest benefits of playing from behind the cage is your vision, your view, what you can see, and how you're able to quarterback the offense a lot of the times. Not always, but if you're a feeder and you have some really good cutters from topside, you're gonna be able to do a lot down here. But I'm not gonna talk about too much of feeding today. Primarily, I'm gonna talk about how to finish. But I just want you to know that if you're playing from behind X, you could see what's going on left, you could see what's going on right. You have a little bit of an obstruction right here in the middle, but you can see for the most part what's going on, and you can change your vision, you could change your angles to see a little bit more of the field. And so, like I said, if you have some really good cutters, you're gonna be able to do a lot there. So if you play from X, just know you're in a really cool position and you can do a lot. So with that being said, let's jump into the finishes. All right, everyone, so let's talk about finish number one, which is actually a really easy finish, but a lot of players don't really think about starting this finish as early as possible. Now, what I'm talking about is starting our shot from behind goal line extended. What happens a lot is for novice or intermediate level players, especially if they don't see a slide coming immediately, they'll take it all the way in front and try and finish right here, which is fine if you don't have a defender. But when's the last time you didn't have a defender slide on you like that to wreck your life? So here's a quick little option to work on finishing a little bit earlier, which is starting your shot behind goal line extended. Now, you ask, well, how do you actually do that? Well, there's a couple of different ways to do it. You could dive into it. You can swivel your hips, pivot, and kind of shuffle into it. You can get your stick upwards towards the top of the field and then work on finishing just like that. Because remember, you got this 4 foot, 5 foot stick, whatever you got right here, and it can go farther than what your hands can go. So if you see this right here, I can get my stick up above goal line extended and finish. Now, if I wanted to add some footwork, what I could do is approach the line, take this little skip shuffle, turn, and fire just like that to get my hips turning. I could also add in a couple of fakes too. 1, 2, not to come up too high, and finish just like that. So a lot of players, like I said, don't know that this is an option and don't really train on finishing from behind goal line extended. I mean, air gate, have you seen that? I mean, you can't really do that in the girls' game, but you could do it in the guys' game. So I just want to give you this option to start to think about where we can finish. We don't always have to go all the way up, especially if we do have a defender. Let's just assume this elevate goalie is my slide, is that girl or that guy that was playing topside, but they're a little bit late. I've already beat them to the spot, and now I can finish or miss right before they get there. It's a totally valid option, especially if they are cutting off the top side of the crease. So that is finish number one. On to finish number two. Let's talk about finish number two, which is the fadeaway shot, meaning that you are fading away from cage, going away from cage, as opposed to turning in and finishing. Now, why would we select the fadeaway shot? Doesn't that go against all our fundamental skills of getting our hips down towards cage? For the most part, yes, but let me paint you this scenario. We got past our primary defender. Maybe they're a half step away. Maybe they still got their stick on us, forcing us out towards the elbow or the wing. But we also have good vision, so we see 2 to 3 slides that are pretty close. that if we go in, they will wreck our life. So this is totally a viable option, especially if you are a shooter and you've been working on your shot. So let me show you how this would work. We're coming up right here. Our head is already turning over our shoulder. We're getting our stick out a lot of the times, and we could either finish with a jump shot, or we could finish by simply taking that shot coming up with a nice little back pedal just like that. Now, you do run the risk, if there is a high defender sliding, that you will get wrecked and cracked still, but it is a valid option if all other options are taken and you decide that that is the best chance to put the ball in the back of the net. That's the fadeaway, guys. It's pretty simple. It's a pretty simple concept, but it's a very hard skill for those newer to intermediate level players. So here's what I recommend doing.
Hey, real quick, don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell because we're dropping fire content like this every single week. Let's get back to the video.
What you're gonna do to practice the fadeaway shot is by simply start walking. Here's the next biggest step. Get your head turning over your shoulder. Here's the next best step. Get your butt end already turning back towards cage. Let's assume this defender's right here. Now, we could either veer just a little bit to the left, right? Or if that defender's really far behind us, we could immediately just go over the top just like that. For the girls' game, try to avoid shooting into your defender, dangerous propaling or dangerous follow through. And then for the guys, well, you know, you guys can do whatever if you want. I don't really know the guys' rules like that, but that's essentially the fadeaway shot. You can do it with a straight run. There's a couple of different releases too. You can definitely go overhand, which I totally recommend for newer intermediate level players. There's sidearm right there. You got to be really good at rotating back towards the cage, getting your butt back upfield like that. You want to get your hips turning a lot of the times. Or for those that have mastered their shooting angles and their different release points, you really don't even need to turn your hips a lot of the time. Vis-a-vis Rob Pannell, you're coming up like this and you're just so good, you can manipulate your stick and hit it from that release point without even turning your hips back towards cage. You're gonna get really wristy on that shot, but that's more of an advanced technique and you gotta practice it. So that is finish number 2. Let's move on to finish number 3. Let's talk about finish number 3, which is the question mark. You see that little dot at the end right there, mark. Anyways, I got my cones right here, actually in the shape of a question mark to show us how to do this. Now, what is it? Essentially all it is it's a drive, a crease roll on top instead of going under, right? It's a crease roll going over, and then you pump the brakes, quickly turn. Now you could finish with a run or you could finish with a jump, but you're going to basically be coming back in a rolling manner and then getting our hips down towards cage, hitting the goal in the head, hopefully no concussions, and then finishing just like that. That's the question mark. Now, let me talk a little bit more specifically about how you actually pull this off and why you would want to do it. Now, the question mark is really, really good, especially if you're able to drive your defender in hard. Let's just say you have a very eager defender and they're trying to stay with you. They're trying to beat you to the spot because they don't want you to go topside. Well, that's a really good advantage for you if you're paying attention. So we're gonna be driving. Now let's just say you're a big body too, like you got some size to you, which is a good thing, and you're able to dip that shoulder and bump them off. Well, the question mark is gonna be a really good option. Last bit of knowledge on this is if you're a righty player like I am, I'm gonna be going to my left, so make sure you're working that left hand too. But we're gonna be attacking in just like this. We're going to take some contact, pump the brakes really quick, work on switching our hands away from the defender. We don't want to let it hang right there because they could still wreck our life. Right here, now notice my head. I'm starting to already turn it back to cage. Now I get a little bit more up just like this. Now I'm going to decide whether I'm going to jump or if I'm going to run it in, which is totally fine too. I like jumping, boom, just like that. That's the question mark. It's really good, again, if you're defenders know you like going topside, you like attacking in, you're a little bit of a bruiser, you like the contact. You could even post up from this position and hit a BTB if you want it, especially if you're good at driving in. You hold right here and then you go right there with a nice big miss just like that. But those are options. I like the question mark again because we're going to initiate the contact, break down, turn quickly, and fire. Now, this is a little bit more of an intermediate movement. You have to take the contact, but you also got to get your eyes back on cage very quickly. The last thing I'll say about this is that we need to be a little bit more topside. We need to be a little bit more center when we do this so that we have a decent angle. If we try this from all the way over here and we do our question mark right there, it's a very hard angle. Hopefully we got that in frame, but it's a very hard angle to hit that shot. So we definitely want to drive a little bit in. And now let's just say a counter from this, we come up right here, boom, maybe we fake, and then we add one more roll. If the defender's really aggressive and they get there pretty quickly, that's another option. So that's the question mark. Go home and try it, but we're going on to finish number 4. All right, so let's talk about finish number 4, which is actually not a finish in and of itself, but is more of a tactical tip to know. We call this lax IQ. What finish number 4 is really all about is creating space to go under, space to go over, and then also drawing your defender away from their help. Let me paint you a picture of what this actually looks like. Let me actually use an analogy. Let's just say you're fighting another army and they're very strong together. But if you separate a couple of them and take them away from their help, they're not as strong as they once were because they relied on teamwork, they relied on sliding, they relied on all this, whatever it was that the army was good at. But because we drew them away from their castle, let's use the castle, the goal is the castle, now they got to go one-on-one with us. And let's just say I'm a better 1v1 warrior player, whatever it is, than that person. Well, it's really hard to combat that, especially if I remove them from their help. And so we call this taking them to the island. So I'm using that blue cone, I believe it's in frame, but we're not going to just attack right here. Let's just say I come up and I try and roll under with a spin this way. Notice how close I am to the crease, and if I get even a little bit of physical contact, I'm going flying in, crease violation, turn over. So tactic number 4 or finish number 4 is take them to the island, meaning isolate them, pull them away from what you want to do. And then from there, once you pull them away with your skip, your run, your jog, you can go under or you can go over it. So I'm going to show you a couple of different options on how to go under and how to go over. So let's start from right here. Let's just say that I'm attacking up. Well, instead of attacking right there, I might drag them out just to over here. I might go all the way back over here and start my dodging process right here. Let's just assume they don't really follow me out too much, and if they do, good, especially if I'm quick. Now I can give them a little move. Maybe I jabbed and split going under, right? I can then go also up above, going top side with maybe a quick little jab split again to finish going top side on that crease roll. So I got plenty of options. Now I'm gonna get a different angle on this to show you a couple of different ways that we could finish from the island. All right, everyone, we're still talking about finish number 4, which is taking our defenders out to the island. Now we're gonna talk about a couple of different ways that we can finish in this particular tactic. So let's just use the blue cone for our defender and where we're taking them out, but it does not always have to be this far out. We could take them to right here because we're still providing space to go under if we wanted to right here, which is really good. Now, yes, we're trying to finish from goal line extended or from the crease or whatever, but we can also drag them up just a little bit higher so that we can roll under too. And I'm going to show you a couple of tactics on that. So now maybe we're swinging the ball, I get it right here. Now here's a quick little hitter right here. I'm gonna come up, maybe give my first movement, get them thinking about that, get them off to the races going topside, and then sit down, roll back, and then work on one of my finishes right there. That's one option that you can do when we're talking about getting them to the island, is that roll under. But I wanna take them up towards the camera though first before I roll under. That's going to give me a little bit more space. Again, we don't need to do it from there. We could put it right here. So I say I come up right here, I sit down right here, boop, 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 and I finish. So that's one option going under, which is that roll, which is really good. Again, it don't need to be a roll. It could be a skip split, like vis-a-vis Charlotte North. Come right here, boop, whoop, switch hands really quick, drop the ball and finish. Drop the stick and finish. But that is an option that, you know, if you practice it, you get pretty good at it, do it really quick. Here's another option. Let's just say we're approaching from a little bit more. I don't know if you guys can see me in this angle. Here's another option. So let's just say I don't want to go under. They're really good at taking away the under. Maybe I go up top. Maybe I sit down, give them a nice little split. Now I can curl in, right? Or maybe I might hit that fadeaway, just like that. So you have options when you take them to the island. You can go topside or you can go under for that. So whatever you choose to do, make sure to sell what you're doing. If you wanna go under, sell that you're going high first, sell that you're going topside, pump the brakes, roll back, split, pull, swim move, whatever it is, do your thing. If you wanna go over, maybe sell going in first and then go topside and beat them to the races. All right, that's tip number 4. Let's talk about finish number 5. All right, we made it to finish number 5, which is incorporating fakes. Now, you could say that you can use fakes on every other finish. Absolutely, 100%. But I wanna hone in on faking, especially once we pass goal line extended, because when I go to all these tournaments, I see so many opportunities to fake these goalies out. Now, some goalies are really good. Doesn't matter if you give them 3 fakes, they are going to probably stop it. But let's just say we have a good day and we're shooting pretty good. Well, we also want to increase our chances of making that goal by adding in a couple of fakes. So I'm going to talk about it as I get set up. So, faking. There's a lot of different ways to fake. We can head fake, we can shoulder fake, we can fake with our body, but we're gonna focus on stick fake. So we're gonna like set up this scenario where I'm coming up the right side of the crease. Now from here, we've already talked about starting our shooting process from behind goal line extended. Let's just say we have a little bit more space. We lost the defender somewhere over there. They got broken in half, whatever. Now I'm gonna work on finishing with a couple of fakes. Now, I like to teach my players, especially when they're starting, on how to shuffle and fake at the same time while changing their levels, because that adds to the deceptiveness of the fake. It's not just this, which can get some goalies, but as you start to level up, the goalies get better. So this ain't gonna work. We need to drop low, make them think that we're going low, and then maybe come up, and then they might get up there quickly, and then we got them back down and we finish like that. Well, I didn't finish, but you guys get the point. So we're gonna be talking about that. So let's talk about finishes. Let's talk about a quick little way to understand that. A lot of the times we can fake high with a nice little hitch right here, a nice little cradle. If you don't know how to cradle, make sure to hit me up, I'll help you on that. Right there, that will hopefully get the goalie to react and go up, and then we can get around them maybe and then go down just like this. But it might take more than one fake. We might have to go 1, 2, and then 3, come back over the top just like that. Also, we might need to change the direction. Here's an option: fake left, shoot right. 1, 2, just like that, and miss, of course. But then we got more balls. That's why training this year, we get to work on these things. I gotta work, obviously. So we have the number of fakes, right? 1, 2, 3, maybe 4 sometimes, and different finishes with those fakes. Then we have faking left, shooting right, or maybe faking right and shooting left. Now let's talk about changing our levels. We kind of talked about it briefly, but we're gonna talk about it a little bit more. Now, if I come down here and maybe I get my head looking down a little bit, they might assume that the shot is going to break low, and then I could come over the top and finish just like that. So how would we practice this? Well, I would take it step by step. If you're not good at cradling and throwing hitches like that and using our body, that's what I would start with first. Then I would add movement. I would start with a shuffle. Fake, 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 and then work on my finishes just like that. And that's essentially what finish number 5 is all about, is working your fakes, especially really tight to the crease and getting really hitching with it. Not just using your stick, using your eyes, using your head, using your movement. Here's another quick little tip. This is what we always tell kids, especially as they're learning to fake. We are going to move the goalie. Let's just assume this goalie is on a string, by moving our feet. So let's just say the goalie was at that pipe right there. Now we move them by moving our feet. They're following. They're typically a half step behind. That's what goalies are trained to do most of the time. And then now I have the option of finishing right there. Let's just assume they really came all the way over here. Well, because I moved them with their feet, that opened up that side of the cage, and I can give a nice little dunk right there. So, did you like that breakdown? Did you enjoy it? Did you learn something? Did it remind you of something? Did I miss something? If I did, put it down in the comments. If you enjoyed this, give it a thumbs up. Let me know that you really liked it. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the Prime Lacrosse YouTube page, because I'm dropping fire content like this all the time. All right, y'all, till the next time, I'll catch you on the field.